we're going to be talking about my favorite character in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I think in ever all media. I'm pretty sure Iroh's it. Iroh is a character that could have very easily been another mentor, another strong, wise, humble, older man that we learn some sage advice from. He could have very easily been the perfect character that there isn't much to say about, but he was written so masterfully, and he is a character that transcends all of those character types and becomes something that is very, very personal to me. I'll speak for myself. I'll speak for you too. He's a character that is so personal to the viewer and who just means a lot to me. So in this video, I'm going to attempt to dig into the character of Iroh, and we're going to start with some setup. Iroh was a general in the Fire Nation army, and he led a siege to breach Ba Sing Se, the capital of the Earth Nation, which had never been done before, and he did breach the outer wall successfully. But before he made it through the inner walls, his son died on the front lines, and Iroh abandoned the siege. This put shame to his name, and immediately after that, his brother Ozai killed their father and claimed that it was their father's dying wish that he become the new emperor. So Iroh lost his son, his father, his honor, and his birthright in one fell swoop. When Iroh was a general, it's assumed that he, much like most of the Fire Nation, was fueling his bending through anger. But when his son died, he pulled back from his position and changed his entire philosophy and worldview to peace and kindness and living connected with the people around him. And it's because of that that he became the character in the series that holds the most wisdom. When he was the general, he had the title the Dragon of the West because he was able to breathe fire. He had this ability, this trick to breathe fire, but also because he slew the final remaining dragons in the world. But in reality, it's that changed philosophy and worldview, it's the things that he learned that made it so when he met Ren and Sha, the original firebenders, rather than meeting them with violence and with aggression and with a need to dominate, instead, assumedly, he met them with humility and he protected them. And it's because of that that he gained access to secrets that almost no one else in this world has. They taught him the true secrets of firebending. Firebending is life and energy incarnate. It was originally a beautiful art fueled by passion and willpower. To your average modern firebender, passion and willpower had been manipulated into anger and aggression. But Iroh showed us a way to live life in harmony with a wise, kind, and gentle strength, where you use that strength to defend and not to dominate. Iroh's an interesting character because when he did return home, he humbly took the position given to him. He didn't try to fight to get his rightful place on the throne back. Instead, he happily accepted the role of uncle, because that was the most important thing to him. And as he stays in the Fire Nation without actually believing the current philosophy of the Fire Nation, I think it's really interesting the way he handles this new role he's in. He'll stand by while Zuko attacks the Avatar, but he won't help him because he knows that Aang will slip away and he doesn't want Zuko to capture Aang. He won't intervene when Zhao attacks the Water Tribes, but when he attacks the Water Spirit, Iroh comes directly against him because he knows how important the balance is. Even when he's traveling as an outcast with Zuko and Zuko steals from the people that help them, Iroh goes with him. He doesn't enjoy any of those things. He doesn't like participating in hunting down the Avatar or watching other nations and tribes be attacked. He's not happy to steal from people who have helped him. He doesn't draw a hard line in the sand. He isn't this perfect moral compass that refuses to participate in any wrongdoing. He's not the perfect character that anytime something wrong is happening, he says, nope, you'll have to go without me because I won't participate in this wrongful act. He's willing to suffer things that he disagrees with. I mean, he'll say it. He'll say, Zuko, we shouldn't be doing this. But when Zuko says, well, I'm going to, so are you coming or are you getting left behind? He goes with him. He'll suffer through these wrongs for the sake of keeping the connection to the most important thing to him, Zuko. And we're gonna talk more about that, but first, we have to talk about the Tales of Ba Sing Se. When Iroh was this great warrior for the Fire Nation, when he was doing exactly what he should be doing as the general and as the heir to the throne, he was a warmonger. He was stealing land and assumedly killing sons in the battles that they were in. And it was in losing his own son that he re-examined the way he viewed war and the way he viewed the supremacy of the Fire Nation and changed. In the Tales of Ba Sing Se, we watch Iroh as he's collecting items. And as he's collecting these items, he's encountering people that could use a little bit of counsel, that could use a little bit of fatherly advice. So Iroh stops what he's doing, he pauses his day and his task to give counsel to those that need it. And this really sums up a lot of who Iroh is as a character. Whatever he's doing, he will pause and freely and joyfully give of his time and his resources for those that need it. Even if he never sees them again, in this moment, he'll give them the fatherly counsel that they need. And it's not until we get to the top of the hill that we see that the things that he's been collecting are offerings for a memorial that he's setting up for his son. And the portrait that he sets up, the words on the portrait can be roughly translated to, General Iroh, I will see you again when victory is obtained. Your loyal son, Lu Ten. Assumedly, Iroh's son, Lu Ten, had this portrait made and gave it to his father as a gift shortly before he went off to fight on the front lines, where he died. And so the portrait that Iroh carries is not only the last thing that his son gave him, but it's also a reminder of the path that he led his son down. Iroh followed the path of Fire Nation supremacy and brought his son along with him. And it was in the loss of that son that he changed everything. While he's on the hill, after he set up the memorial, he says the line, if only I could have helped you. He was changed by the loss of his son, his kind, giving nature to everyone around him, and his determination to be there for Zuko and help him down a better path stems from wishing that he could have been a better man and led his own son down a better path. So when he lost his son, he lost everything. And he went on a search to find a better kind of life. In that, he met the other nations. He learned their value and he learned about their bending and their beliefs and cultures. And he learns the importance of balance within the world and the nations. And when he does return home and he takes on the role of devoted uncle to Zuko, and he's happy that that is the most important role in his life right now, he tells Zuko at one point during the series that since his son died, he views Zuko as his son. And he proves that throughout the series by his actions and by his devotion to Zuko and his unwavering love. He follows Zuko in his quest to hunt down the Avatar, but he doesn't assist him, and in many ways he hinders him because his goal ultimately is for Zuko to find the correct path. And if that means following him while he's going down the wrong path so that he can be there for him to gently lead him in another direction, then that is what he will devote his entire life to do. And while he's traveling with Zuko, the kind of counsel that he gives him is an open-handed counsel. He's not forceful like Zuko's father was. He's not angry or manipulative. He doesn't try to make him go in the direction he wants to. He's gentle and he's kind and he's patient and he never gives up. But he's also firm when Zuko needs it, challenging him to think about what he wants for his life, not what's been put on him, not what he's been told his destiny is, not what he's been told it will take to earn the love of his father, but what does he want for his life? What is the path that he would choose for himself? Challenging him to think about that, challenging him about how impulsive and dangerous his actions are, and forcing him to think about where his life is leading him. But ultimately, the choice was always left up to Zuko. What Zuko chose was where he went. Iroh allowed him to make his own choices for his life despite any counsel he's given, and he let him make his own mistakes and learned from those. But he never gave up on him, and he never forced him to suffer those mistakes entirely alone. One of my favorite Iroh scenes is when he's having tea with Toph, and he brings up his nephew, and Toph asks him, "Is your nephew lost?" And Iroh responds, "Yes, a little bit. His life has recently changed, and he's going through very difficult times. He's trying to figure out who he is, and he went away. I know he doesn't want me around right now, but if he needs me, I'll be there." That is the love of a true father, not one who's forceful, not one who tries to intimidate him into going down the path that he knows is right, but one who allows Zuko to make the decisions for himself, for the path that he'll take, for the directions of his life. But regardless of what that decision is, regardless of how poor of choices he makes, Iroh continues to be there, even if that means him following behind so that Zuko doesn't see him and thinks that he's on his own. Iroh still is there for the moment that Zuko needs him so that he can gently lead him in the path that will lead him to true fulfillment. When Zuko challenged Ozai, he was met with lifelong punishment and shame. He was on his hands and knees begging for forgiveness, tears streaming down his face, and he was met with violence and a scar to signify his dishonor. When he betrayed Iroh in a far greater way, Zuko came to him broken and filled with shame. He was shaking and crying, ready to be rejected. But instead he was met with unconditional love and forgiveness. And that's Uncle Iroh, the man that learns from his mistakes, counsels in kindness and love, but firmness when it's needed, and that loves unconditionally, so that when you fail and fail again, he's not angry at you for failing like he once did. He just doesn't want you to lose your way. Iroh shows Zuko that he didn't deserve abuse as a child, and he doesn't deserve it now. And when Zuko stands up to his father and challenges him and tells him how horrible it was that he would challenge a child to an Agni Kai, and his father's response is to attack him with lightning, Zuko uses what Iroh taught him, both physically and personally, by redirecting that lightning and then walking away. Iroh's a really fascinating character to me, not just in his incredible, unwavering love, but also in the way he models strength. He is an incredibly powerful firebender. He's a member of a secret organization, the White Lotus. He proves his strength several times in the series, yet chooses not to use that physical strength very often. Even to the point of, at one point, being captured. He could take his captors out easily, but instead he tries to use trickery and very mild forms of violence to be able to get free. He could use his dragon's breath and take them out and run, but instead he tries to just lightly burn their hands to get them away from him, and then rolling down a hill and leaving clues for Zuko to find. And I think choosing to do it the hard way and choosing to suffer a little bit more for the sake of not harming others, even when he's the one being wronged, is a model of strength that should be noted. He shows a very specific kind of power where he could overpower most, but chooses to use every option he can think of before that. He uses his power in the least self-serving way and even tries to distract and deflect to prevent his nephew from using his power in destructive ways any chance he can. When the final battle is happening and the White Lotus have arrived on scene, Iroh says, Only once every 100 years can a firebender experience this kind of power, and he uses that incredible power to defend. He came to Ba Sing Se the first time to conquer it, the second time as a tourist, and when he returns to Ba Sing Se for the third time, it's to liberate the city from the Fire Nation. I love the line when Zuko asks him, "What are you gonna do after the war is over?" And Iroh's response is, "After we liberate Ba Sing Se, I'm going to reclaim my tea shop and I'm going to play Pai Sho every day." He's helping to lead a revolution, and he is the uncle and mentor of who will soon become the most powerful man in the world. But he doesn't want notoriety, he doesn't want a title, he doesn't want power, he doesn't want influence. He just wants to restore balance, make the world right again, and live a humble life of peace and prosperity. Iroh is an incredible character, and there's a reason why he's more than just the character types that he initially falls into. Yes, he's the mentor character. Yes, he's the near perfect guy. He's the wise old sage advice fella, and he's the goofy derpy uncle. He's all those things. And he could have been just those things, but fantastic writing makes him something so much more. He makes him something so much deeper to the characters in the story, but also to the viewers. I feel like I've learned so much from Iroh. There's so many scenes, there's so many displays of love through his actions, and there's so many words that he's spoken that I have stopped and thought about deeply and discussed deeply, because he's so much more layered and nuanced than just the archetype that he starts as. This is character writing at its best. I think that this is my favorite character in all of media, and there's a reason he's a character that means so much to so many people. You must never give in to despair. Allow yourself to slip down that road, and you surrender to your lowest instincts. In the darkest times, hope is something that you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength. Quite frankly, there are a lot more lines and scenes that we could have dug in even more, because Iroh is a character that keeps on giving. But I wanted to do a video about Iroh because I love him so deeply and I love discussing him. I hope you enjoyed it. If you got this far, I would really, really love to continue to do character analysis videos, maybe even eventually branch out to scene analysis videos for Avatar. I love talking about the series, and it would be super fun to do one of these videos for each of Team Avatar. I just wanted to start with my favorite character. So let me know if that's something that you're interested in. I want to kind of gauge interest and make sure that that's actually something that people would be interested in seeing. So please let me know if that's something that you're interested in. Maybe we could do one of these like once a month. And if you're interested in keeping up with what I'm reading, that's what my second channel is completely dedicated to. I do reading vlogs every week where I discuss books right after I finish them and as I'm reading them. And then we also have in-depth discussions for some of my favorite books every single week. My Patreon is also linked in the description. We do buddy reads over there. We also just hang out and chat all the time, so you can check that out if you want to. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on this channel, Tuesdays and Thursdays on the second channel. I'll see you again soon. Bye.